Today we're doing our special monthly consciousness talk, and you're tuning in to the last part of it right now, part four. Up until now, we've spoken about the human mission, thriving on your personal path. Where do we come from? What is the meaning of life? Removing the veil of oppression, expanding our consciousness, understanding our emotional, intuitive selves, the power of forgiveness, and living in gratitude. All of this culminates to the ability to aligning with our higher self. Aligning with our higher self is going to be your anchor on your personal path, your personal journey. When we are not aligned with our higher self, we can be easily distracted, we can be easily coerced, we can be easily manipulated, and not being honest with our emotional and intuitive selves allows for that type of deception to occur. Whether we like it or not, no matter how evolved we may feel we are, if we are not being honest with ourselves, or if we are not living in alignment with our higher selves, many times we fall into a state of compromise. And when we fall into a state of compromise, we slowly begin to, how should we say, impair our progress on our personal path. Now, that's not to say that I'm trying to perpetuate an idea of perfection, because there is no perfection other than complete, harmony with the divine, whatever that definition may be for you. However, on this journey of life, when we are allowing ourselves to be compromised, when we are allowing ourselves not to be honest with what we're feeling, with what we are, with our integrity, we are impairing the path. So how do we align with our higher selves? I touched on it a bit earlier, but it's ideally and esoterically, it is having that constant channel with your collective, with the collective consciousness of the planet. However, there are steps that need to be taken on an individual level. It does, for me, it starts with meditation. And one of the things that I often speak of when it comes to aligning with the higher self and being able to align with the higher self is to be the observer of your thought versus being the thought. And many other metaphysicians and speakers on this topic will say the same thing. Becoming the observer of our thought and not allowing ourselves to be the thought. There is a certain detachment involved in being aligned with your higher self. There is a certain letting go of a particular outcome and aligning with the higher self. You'll notice that you will find yourself getting frustrated or angry or negative or lowering your vibration when you don't get your desired outcome in any particular situation. Oh, I need this, or I want it to be a certain way. The outcome that doesn't turn out the way that you expect can be very distracting. So that's where we get a little Buddhist here. We're going to talk a little bit on a Buddhist philosophical way here, in the sense that we must let go of desire and we must let go of the outcome. Desire is a beautiful thing. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's a wonderful, if you desire a beautiful person that you've fallen in love with, or you desire a better way of living or something, that's wonderful. Desire in itself is not necessarily a negative thing or a detrimental thing. It is the desire of that specific outcome that becomes negative. You can desire someone and you're not going to get them, or you don't get them. Well, that's going to get you upset if you can't let go of the outcome of, getting with that person, or falling in love with that person, or falling in love with that job, or getting that job. Desire is not a bad thing. It's the outcome, clinging to specific outcomes. So going back to aligning with our higher self, let me just say here that in order for us to be able to align with our higher self and to detach ourselves from a desired outcome, we must learn how to change the way that we think. We must change the way that we think. And for me, that is done through meditation. And what I'm going to share with you now, I'm not going to do the meditation, but I am going to walk through the steps that I do in my own personal practice and that I teach others that come to my classes or listen to my talks on how to align with the higher self. And the first thing that you need to do is you need to give yourself that moment. Give yourself that moment. The intention of aligning with your higher self. I intend I'm going to align with my higher self at 2 p.m. today. You know, schedule it if you need to. Intend that you're going to create a moment where you're going to literally do the practice. By if you're thinking about doing the practice and you don't do the practice, that doesn't change anything. You literally need to do the practice in order for this to work. So intend the time, create the time, go to the time, and be prepared to allow yourself to do the actual exercises. And what I do when I'm doing the exercise, and what I'd like to say is that first, it will take a little bit longer. Some people need 20 minutes, some people need an hour. Some people can't even do it the first couple of times, and that's absolutely fine. I'm lucky now, after 20 years, I can probably do this particular practice in about 3 minutes, but uh, it will take practice to get to that point. So don't get frustrated if it doesn't work the first couple times. Don't get frustrated if it takes you a long time. The more you do it, the easier it will get. And I'd like you to look up the word neuroplasticity. Look up neuroplasticity, and it'll explain why it becomes easier. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to create a new neural pathway for your brain to function. You're creating a new neural pathway by doing this particular exercise. So you've created the time. You're at the place where you can get quiet. Like I said, give yourself a half hour. Give yourself 30 minutes to do it. May not take you as long. It might take you longer, but give yourself 30 minutes. And what you want to do, the first thing that I like to do is I just close my eyes and I want complete silence around me. Some people prefer to have like new age music or something. I like complete silence. I don't want to hear anything because I want to hear my thoughts. I want to see my thoughts. So close your eyes. The next step I do is I begin to focus on my breath, taking a deep breath in through my nose, filling my belly, and just allowing the body to relax, allowing the mind to relax, allowing the thoughts to slow down, and then bringing the attention to the thought process and acknowledging that the thoughts are now slowing down. I've closed my eyes, I'm taking a few deep breaths, and suddenly my thoughts have begun to slow down. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Wow, that was easy, wasn't it? And suddenly, now that the thoughts are beginning to slow down, I'm going to bring my attention to acknowledging every thought that goes by. It's like, oh, here comes a thought. Oh, was that a bird chirping? Another thought comes in. Oh, I have to have lunch in an hour. Another thought that comes in. Oh, I have that paper due next week. Another thought comes in. I need to meet my girlfriend at 7 o'clock. Another thought that comes in. I forgot to make the bed today. And just seeing the thoughts going through your mind slowly, allowing them to go by slowly. And then eventually, what I like to do is I begin to acknowledge the beginning and the end of every thought. Because it's like a stream, it's like a river. It's like a river of thoughts that kind of change color, so to speak, if that helps. And it just begins to stream across your mind, and you begin to be able to tell where one thought begins and ends, and another thought begins and ends, and there comes another thought that begins and ends, and every thought begins and ends. And as every thought begins and ends, and you become aware that every thought begins and ends, you begin to acknowledge the space between the thought. Suddenly, the thoughts get slower. Suddenly, you can see the space between the thoughts. And then I begin to focus on that space between the thoughts, that silence, the place of no thought, the place of complete silence and connection with myself, where I am truly the purest that I can be, the most clear person, the clearest being, the clearest spirit lies between those thoughts. No thought, no emotion, no desire, no attachment, just you, just you. That is where your higher self lives. Your higher self lives between the thoughts. Find that place between the thoughts. Stay there. Begin to have a relationship with it. That is the pure you. That is your connection to your source. There is no ego there. There is no personality there. There is no beginning and end. That is an infinite place. An infinite place. It goes forever. It's limitless. It is all possibility. And within this place, you can create possibility. Within this place, you have a blank canvas in order to create new thoughts, new ideas, and not the distractive chatter of the mind. The distractive chatter will create reaction. The reaction creates negative emotion, etc., etc. But in this place between the thought, it is infinite. It is a place for you to create. And it is a place for you to be honest without any reactive mind. So find this place between the thought, align with it. And whenever you are seeking clarity, whenever you are not understanding why you're feeling a certain way, why you're feeling unhappy, why you're feeling happy, why you're being guided in a specific direction, go to this place between the thought and allow it to speak to you. Allow that higher self place, that infinite place that is connected to the source of all things. Allow this place to speak to you. It will guide you on a way for you to thrive on your personal path. For me, the human mission is to live in this place. For me, the human mission is to be aligned with the higher self. To me, the human mission is to understand this higher self, listen to it, listen to ourself. It's us. That higher self is you. You at your highest level. The highest vibration version of you lives here. It will not guide you wrong. It is neither negative nor positive. It has no desired outcome. Find it, live with it, allow it to be a part of your life. You will find it much easier to live in gratitude, to live in forgiveness, to understand your emotions, to understand your intuition, and to understand the veil of oppression and give you the opportunity to expand your consciousness. All of these things are living right there and easily accessible for you. The next thing, once we have aligned with our higher self, and I'm only going to bring us out of it for just a moment, is the ability to live in prosperity and happiness. Because once you are aligned with your higher self, you can live in complete happiness. Sadness becomes a choice. Prosperity becomes a perception versus a monetary thing. What is prosperity? Isn't prosperity having everything you need to be happy? Isn't prosperity having wonderful friends, a wonderful family, doing what you love in your life? Isn't prosperity living your dream? Isn't prosperity making other people happy and yourself? Prosperity does not have monetary value. Prosperity for me is the prosperity of happiness. It is a prosperity of being fulfilled, of living fulfilled. And when we begin to live in that gratitude of, I love my wife, I love my husband, I love my children, I love my friends, I love my job, I'm happy. Am I unhappy with certain things in the world? Well, I'm not going to say I'm unhappy, but I will say I feel I can help bring greater balance to the way things are on the planet. I feel I can help bring greater clarity to those that are kind of not quite getting it and making things worse because they don't get it. We can live on a very, very happy planet. We can live in a very, very prosperous way if we can just learn to redefine what happiness and prosperity means. Happiness and prosperity are not in a dictionary. Happiness and prosperity, that definition can only be defined by your personal higher self. What is going to allow you to thrive on your personal path? When you are thriving on your personal path, you are in prosperity. You are living in happiness. You don't like the news? Turn off the TV. You don't like the government? Create a new one. I mean, I know that's a big, a big thing to do, but work toward it. Work toward creating the new paradigm. I am. Work to creating a better world. Work to creating a world without greed, without corruption. Work toward a world of harmony and of happiness. Work toward having a life of happiness and harmony. But that is only done through having the clarity. And that clarity is going to come when you align with your higher self regularly. Begin to develop a relationship with your higher self. Get into the practice, the daily, if not multiple times a day, to just quiet your mind and listen. Go between the thoughts, transcend the ego, transcend the fear. There is no fear, there is no ego. There are no thoughts. We create them. We create them. Become the creator. You are the creator. Just imagine how beautiful this planet is going to be when everyone begins to thrive on their personal path. Imagine how wonderful this planet will be when we all understand our human mission. Imagine what a wonderful world this is going to be when we all have come to the place of aligning with our higher self and understanding our social responsibility not to harm others, to understand our social responsibility to leave it better than we came to. Imagine how wonderful this planet is going to be once we have all moved into a place of alignment with our higher self. It is happening. It is happening. You know it's happening. You've seen little glimpses of it. You've seen little steps occurring not only within your life, but in the planet itself. It is happening. As we understand our human mission, we begin to thrive on our personal path, and our planet, our society will begin to thrive. It is beginning to thrive. How many more co-ops are we seeing? How many more credit unions are we seeing? How many more demonstrations toward a better planet are we seeing? It's happening everywhere. It is getting better. Keep feeding the momentum of positivity. Keep feeding the clarity. Keep this happening and thriving. Keep yourself happy. Keep yourself thriving. Keep allowing yourself to thrive. Without you, there is no they. Think about it. Without you, there is no they. You need to be the they that is helping to make this world a better place. And that is going to be done by thriving, being happy, and living in the prosperity that makes you a better individual to create this better paradigm. You're doing it.